All right, welcome back. Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, I can.
Okay, so I can hear some other background noise. Is it like a wind or something blowing?
Uh,
I remember that
could
was
be.
like that last week. Okay, all right. Let's just
You want us to attempt to cut that out, or we should
yeah.
just
If you
continue
if
to?
you no, it's okay. When you're talking, I don't seem to hear it. But
Oh,
anyway,
well.
yeah. Let's just get into this one. The Supreme Court's IEEPA knockout. So we'll get into some Trump news. There's a 6-3 defeat for the president. The Supreme Court has officially stripped Trump of his favorite economy weapon. The White House is ruling today after a landmark 6-3 Supreme Court ruling in the case of Learning Resources Incorporated versus Trump. The justices have officially struck down the president's use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act (IEEPA) to impose sweeping, open-ended tariffs. So, Chief Justice John Roberts wrote that the president cannot unilaterally impose unbounded tariffs under the guise of an emergency, while Trump has already fired back, calling the decision a disgrace and threatening to use Section 122 as a backup. The legal foundation of his trade war is in ruins. So, Chief, we've seen Trump bypass Congress for months. Is the last branch finally standing up to the president? Are we? Can we be hopeful here that maybe we're going to see some new orders, some new balance? Maybe back into how we're supposed to do things in the 21st century.
Well, I'm not tickled um, to the same degree with you in expecting that. Oh, this is like some
So I shouldn't raise my
optimism.
hopes up. I shouldn't raise my hopes up.
Not so early, or
Okay.
not so soon, because you never can predict um, the way things will swing. After all, they created him. I've been talking of the Frankenstein monster in politics, or monsters in politics. Whether you're talking of Yes Wike in Nigeria, or the lionizing of the Nigerian president, such that he's not seen as the lion of Babylon anymore in Nigeria, but the father of the nation. And the same attitude you find with the Supreme Court justices and their benefactor, um, Donald Trump. Because instead of focusing on the serious job of interpreting the laws and being the guardian of the sanctity of the constitution of this country, what they virtually handed a palm victory, or a victory palm, to President Donald J. Trump. Since they said, oh, he could do certain things in his realm as the president, creating uh, through such a concerning ruling in the past, uh, a presidency that is imperial. Whatever they are doing at this moment to rein him in by way of this a 6-3 defeat for his pretenses to use trade tariff recklessly and arbitrarily and in a whimsical and capricious fashion over the last year plus. It would look appropriate, but there are still other questions. I mean, before the Supreme Court justices. But let me say that this is a well-earned victory for American consumers, because this is actually, in the final analysis, not a battle of ideas, not just a battle of ideas between President Donald J. Trump and other countries of the world, say like China, Canada, and so on and so forth. Even before the Supreme Court justices rose to the occasion, you find out that a country like Canada are taking a stand that, look, we are not even going to continue to pretend that we are like the wishful 51st state of the United States of America has been callously promoted and without any trace of what's it called restraint by President Donald Trump over the years. So Canada is standing for itself. You find that Mexico did some major resistance, and even China to a certain degree, without pulling a punch, almost bringing everybody in the global space to their side, and Russia having some victory. And then you ask, why is President Donald Trump doing this? Because at the end of the day, why I said it's a battle between consumers, between us consumers, citizens of this country, and our presidency, a presidency that should be ours, that we should own, got so reckless and began to pitch itself as them versus us. I think since ultimately the Constitution is about the people, that's probably why momentarily the Supreme Court justices rose, with their spine intact today to say this. And what do you find? Grandpa goes ranting again. What's he doing? Throwing tantrums and calling names and saying, when a president does that, you begin to wonder, which country is he leading? Is it this country or another one? Because a co-equal arm of the government has now spoken, and it is their place to make sure that a matter is not only justiciable, they also pronounce justice on it. And they have done just that. Mr. President is not happy, but who cares? So long the vast majority of the people of this country are in tune with what the Constitution says and what guarantees the pursuit of happiness for the vast majority of us. That is what we can't in this situation. And you begin to wonder, is this an accident? Not just the Supreme Court justices is saying that this man promised to make it American first or make America great again. But what you find is that it's not just MAGA sentiments anymore. It's not just American first anymore. It's now America isolated. It's gone where no one has ever gone before. Dismantling treaties, threatening allies, wanting single-handedly to pull the country out of hallowed alliances and treaties. For example, trying to make sure that the EE takes us out of a NATO. Who does that? And that cannot even be done without the backing of the Congress. But it does not care. And then since everybody in the Republican Party has decided to capitulate and just give him a free rein, he's done so much that really strikes at nothing other than violations over the time. But with the Supreme Court knowing its place now, we think all hope is not lost. And having attempted to dissolve NATO or get America out of it, something that in itself is unconstitutional, I mean, that only can be initiated by the Congress. You find him saying all kinds of stuff. Whenever he is put at bay, whenever his excesses are checked, he throws tantrum. No respect for the Congress, no respect for the people. And even lately, it is like playing us, allowing the gaming all of us. He was the one who said, we're negotiating with Iran. The moment they are like the possibility of guaranteeing something, he imposed blockade against Strait of Hormuz. And Iran responded by way of saying, okay, we go back to status quo, ante, and making it practically impossible for any ease of passage through that strait. Critical corridor for the economics of the world. I think they say that place is in charge of about 20% of stuff concerning oil trading in the world. So whatever happens, whether at Hormuz or the unapproved war against Iran, because it's not sanctioned by the Congress, and now that the Supreme Court has said, no, you can't be reckless or just resorting to this kind of tactics each time things do not go your way. And the train tantrum, is it going to obey what they have ruled, or is it going to play that game against all of us that, oh, I am the president, nobody puts me in check, but the people certainly will put him in check. If it does not respect the Supreme Court of this country, of this land, great as we are, you can be sure that the people will speak, and they have been speaking successive elections. Look at the setbacks for him and his party. It's such a disgraceful situation right now that anybody endorses immediately turns leprous. It becomes an electoral liability and pariah. The people will not support such. And even where he's not been able to show quality leadership, when people say, oh, this is wrong, instead of him recusing himself or exercising restraint, you see that the system is roaring to the rescue. This morning, the Labor Secretary has resigned because of allegations. Donald Trump is incapable of doing that himself. Last week, you find a promising individual in politics, I think somewhere in Virginia, or wherever, resigning because of certain allegations, and from Democratic fold, and in response, a Republican congressperson also resigns. So it means that that moral armament is beginning to really come on, and the shroud of disgrace is being lifted off the conscience of several American politicians. Would Donald Trump be able to take a cue from that? That is the million-dollar question. And we hope that people will begin to nerve up, people will begin to man up, and people will begin to see that, okay, where to go as a counterbalance to constitutional duty and responsibility is self-rearmament. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, join the conversation by leaving your comments below. Shout out to Marriott. I see your comments, Marriott. Right about now, we're gonna move on to talking about the ADC mass defection fever, and we'll be right back.